Hey, it's time for Tech News Day.
Yeah! So a few weeks back, we talked about that new report from the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, in which hundreds of climate scientists from around the world warned that the world's governments only have about a decade to proactively and aggressively reduce carbon emissions if they don't want the second half of the 21st century to be hell on earth for everyone who's dumb enough to still be alive.
Does the UN even know about how the free market works, Elliot? It's gonna sort itself out.
Yeah. People always make the right choice.
By strangling the humans to death.
Yeah, so it was a dire forecast for the future, but not really surprising if you've been paying any attention at all for the last decade or so. But it's important to note that excess CO2, which it blocks the heat from escaping our atmosphere and thus heats the world's average temperature. That's the problem. That's just one of many ways that we as humans are abusing the shit out of this poor, poor planet.
For example, this study published earlier this month in the peer-reviewed scientific journal Environmental Science and Technology focused on what are known as microplastics, tiny, barely visible pieces of plastic. And it turns out we're all unknowingly eating a ton of it, thanks to its presence in table salts harvested from the sea, which is full of microplastics. And more recently, a totally separate study found that among a small group of test subjects from countries around the world, they all had microplastics in their shit. Basically, you've almost certainly got tiny pieces of plastic just making their way through your body right this second like a tiny school bus commandeered by a kindergarten teacher.
Well, that's fun when you say it like that.
Yeah, it's this little piece of plastic is having a blast down there.
Yeah, it's learning all about me.
Wait till it finds out what the grand finale is, though. It's my asshole. Anyways, it's probably going to continue being the case because you're going to eat, and it's gonna show up in pretty much everything that you eat. So,
yeah,
can't kill me from plastic.
So that first study, the one that focused on sea salt, it's not exactly news. The fact that sea salt can contain microplastic has been known for several years now. So one goal of this particular study was to look into just how pervasive this problem is. Well, it turns out about 90% of all table salt sold worldwide has microplastic in it. The problem is at its worst over in Asia, particularly Indonesia, and the research indicates that this is due to there being more plastic pollution over there. In other words, more of their trash is just ending up in the ocean where it breaks down and eventually ends up getting scooped right back up by the salt industry who failed to filter it out because it's so small. So it makes sense that microplastics are found mostly in sea salt, with fewer microplastics found in lake salt and even fewer microplastics found in rock salt that you get out of mines.
I only eat salt from the Great Salt Lake, like my forefathers before me.
The Great Salt Lake is filthy.
Yeah, no, it's good. If you can touch it yourself, it's good. It's better than what anyone can cook up in a lab or filter through a big giant filter. Nope, I lick everything off the ground. Has natural salt to it. I drink my own piss. It's salty as hell.
It is.
I just piss all over my food.
I'm like a Yellowstone goat. Give me that piss.
Nothing's gonna filter out microplastics like the human body. So, anyways, the other study that we're talking about the poop, that hasn't actually been published yet. Just presented at a gastroenterology event along with a press release. It involved 8 volunteer test subjects from 8 different countries who kept a food diary for a week and then had their shit shipped over to Austria for analysis. Like we said, they all had plastic in their poo. Obviously, 8 people, that's a very small study. These people, they just might love the taste of plastic. Could be a weird thing. Who knows?
Yeah, I eat plastic.
Yeah, well, you didn't ask that question on the test. Hopefully this leads to more research with a bigger pool of test subjects. But one disturbing question that could really use some answers is, how did the plastic get inside the poop? There's, of course, obviously salt, but the researchers also seem to believe that some of the plastic could have come more directly from consuming plastic-wrapped foods and drinking from plastic bottles.
Oh, so I'll just stop eating anything. Yeah, the press release also brings up a potential other source, fish. They're just out there swimming around, literally just sucking up seawater in order to breathe. So a tiny fish gets a little bit of microplastic in its body, then a bigger fish eats that fish while also getting some of its own microplastic in its body, and so on until you get to really big fish like tuna, which have been testing positive for lots and lots of microplastics for years. Oh, and also keep in mind that 1/3 of all fish caught in the ocean end up used in animal feed on farms to feed land animals like pigs and chickens. So they're getting a little bit of it too.
Yeah, it's like a slightly less serious version of any zombie movie. It just keeps going until you become a zombie.
It's the circle of trash.
Now again, it's also in pretty much all salt and could be coming from any food packaged in plastic at any point. So veganism, not really an easy answer for avoiding microplastics going through your digestive system and coming out in your shit before being flushed down the toilet and eventually making its way back into the ocean where the circle begins again. Whatever. Another huge question that has no conclusive answer yet is just how dangerous any of this is for us. I mean, it could be like, radioactive material, just a little bit.
A little bit of radium.
Just a little dabble, do you?
Now my paintbrush is nice and pointy.
Now plastic fears me, for I have consumed it. Yeah, it's disturbing and gross, sure, and it sounds weird, but is it bad for your health? No one knows yet, and it's not something that you can figure it out that easily. But here's one very disturbing quote from that poop study in the press release regarding it. While the highest plastic concentrations in animal studies have been found in the gut, the smallest microplastic particles are capable of entering the bloodstream, lymphatic system, and they might even reach the liver. Now that we have first evidence for microplastics inside humans, we need further research to understand what this means for human health. You know what I say? Cut the funding. If you don't know about it, it's not happening.
Well, they're trying. And keep in mind that a lot of the commonly used plastics that end up as microplastics have been found to very likely be carcinogenic. So if that's not just going through your digestive system, but also your blood, liver, other organs, probably not great. So yay. But hey, for a little bit of balance here, let's take a look at yet another microplastic study published this month in the journal Environmental Toxicology and Chemistry, which looked into 320 existing studies in microplastics to see if it's really that bad for all of us. Now, one of that study's authors, the very Britishly named Alistair Boxall, said in a statement, "Based on our analysis, there's currently limited evidence to suggest microplastics are causing significant adverse impacts." Okay, so that's kind of reassuring, except, oh shit. That study was funded by the Personal Care Products Council, a cosmetics industry trade group. You know, the cosmetics industry, the industry that's been intentionally putting tiny plastic beads in all of our soaps for years under the pretense of exfoliating. Of course, those beads go right down the drain when you rinse them off, and if you're anywhere near the coast, they eventually end up in the ocean, where they can very easily end up inside of a fish or scooped up along with some sea salt. So, I don't know, maybe that study has a vested interest in people not panicking about this, and maybe we should panic.
I don't know, this is exciting for me. First of all, cut the funding. Second of all, I feel like now that I have this information, I feel like a human 3D printer.
Yeah.
Every time I take a BM, it's gonna be exciting. What could come out?
Yeah.
A little doll.
Well, yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Now
a poop jockey.
Now I don't have to fight Sinbad and various other people to get my son the doll he's looking for this Christmas. Turbo Man. Turbo Man's coming out of my asshole.
It took me a couple bowel movements, but damn it, son, I made it. Dad, this smells like shit. It's because it is shit.
It is shit, son. It's the circle of life.
Yeah, you had to learn someday.
Yeah.
But hey, that's enough depressing poop news for one day. Here's some potentially good news from Elon Musk, of all people.
Wow.
So back in December of 2016, Musk tweeted out, "Traffic is driving me nuts. I'm going to build a tunnel boring machine and just start digging." And if he
did start digging, but in different ways. But he also started digging.
Yeah, digging his own Twitter grave, and then also digging under the earth here in Los Angeles. And hey, if he saw the news right before we filmed this episode, he would see that driving on the highway, very dangerous. You could get hit by a plane at any time.
What?
A fucking plane crashed on the 101, like an old World War II looking plane. The guy lived. He walked right out. Oops, sorry everyone.
Was it Harrison Ford?
No, but
Not again.
Take the keys away from that man.
No, I love flying. I'm really good at it. I swear.
Okay, Harrison. But back to Musk and beating traffic. As we know by now, though, the kinds of tweets from Musk, sometimes they're jokes, but sometimes they aren't. Whether it's about flamethrowers, child-sized submarines, or in this case, subterranean tunnels in Los Angeles that could make his commute better. He soon announced the existence of The Boring Company, and in February of 2017, The Boring Company started digging a tunnel underneath the SpaceX campus in Hawthorne. This week, Elon announced on Twitter, he loves anime. Sorry, there was a tweet before that, actually.
And he's buying Fortnite and shutting it down to save all the virgins.
Yeah.
Oh wait, not that one either.
All right, but the real announcement, it was that his first tunnel, it's almost done. and it's going to be opening on December 10th with free rides for the public. The 11th. He'll have to try it out first.
December 10th, they're going to have a big party.
Yeah.
Him and all of his other rich friends are going to be going, whee!
By the time the public goes down there and gets in one, it's going to be tearing through a bunch of Coors Light cans. The real silver bullet.
Oh, man. They really missed a sponsorship opportunity.
I know, so much money.
Like a Hyperloop thing, it looks just like a Coors can.
Yeah.
And it's just like their advertising where you're in the middle of like a football game or something and the train just busts out of the wall.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, woo!
After Snowpiercer, I think their marketing campaign probably not doing as well.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, it's important to note that this test tunnel is just 2 miles long and extends from the SpaceX campus westward towards near the 405 freeway. So no, even though you'll presumably be able to stand in line for a chance to ride it, it will not be improving anybody's commute unless you have a very specific commuting need.
Yeah.
It's a proof of concept. It's meant to demonstrate that something like this can be done. An underground transportation system that can transport cars and pedestrians at very high speeds while taking up a very small footprint.
I thought this was just for cars. I thought you're supposed to park your car on it and it takes that. Why are people...
That's the primary thing, but then there's also going to be...
Oh, you mean a subway?
Yeah.
Oh, Elon Musk invented a subway?
Yes, he did.
Wow. He should go back to the 1800s because they would be fucking blown away by this technology.
So, to demonstrate how small of a footprint this is, the end of the tunnel, the part that's near the 405 and not on the SpaceX campus, it's in an elevator inside the garage of a normal house. So they just like built this into someone's house. So the idea is to have elevators like that installed in like office buildings and parking lots just all over the place, instead of having to build something like a giant subway station, which takes up a lot of space.
Seems like a lot of infrastructure though to build.
It really does. I have a lot of doubts about this, but in a month and a half, we will have a much better idea of how viable of an idea this actually is.
Also, the idea that there is fucking like fiber optics and electricity,
there's a lot
and
of shit down
pipes and water and everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason, like, normal tunneling, because we've been tunneling for a long time, guys, over 100 years. There's a reason why that is problematic. It doesn't have so much to do with the tunneling itself, although in places like Boston and Seattle, they'll just run into like some granite that no one knew was there, and then it's like, well, the project's fucked.
Yeah.
But then, like, in addition to that, big cities have a lot of shit underground. You gotta get permission from a lot of people. Sometimes a city like Beverly Hills will just be like, nah, no digging. Go around. That's what's happening with the actual subway in LA, which is currently being built.
Yeah.
So yeah, this isn't Hyperloop.
It's also because they don't want the pores coming through their area.
No, that's the reason.
Yeah. They're like, well, we have, there's an oil reserve here. You don't want to accidentally bump into that. But no, it's because they don't want the pores.
But there's also there's oil deposits all over under LA. LA is the largest oil field west of the Mississippi. That includes like Texas. So there's a lot of reasons to, even if this initial test thing works out, there's a lot of reasons to maybe not hold your breath for this to like catch on as a big new thing. But hey,
you're not going to be able to use it. You're a normal person like us.
Yeah.
You think you just to demo it, go down there, sure. Hey, let all the normies down there to test it out. Now, it's like, Elon Musk doesn't want traffic congestion on his fucking car transport thing. He's gonna be like, it costs fucking, I don't know, $20,000 a month. But you get to go to the airport real quick.
Well, he said it would be affordable. I don't know, we'll see.
Affordable to him and Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, well, yeah, his idea of affordable is probably a bit out of touch with the common person. I don't know.
We'll see.
I mean, I think a major flaw with it is, we already invented subways 100 years ago, and they're a lot more space effective. You can fit like hundreds of people in one subway line.
Yeah, and no traffic down there.
Instead of putting all the cars. I don't know.
Seems like a process to get a car down there and get it locked in securely.
Yeah, it feels like something that would be more difficult than it sounds.
The whole thing to me smells like Elon Musk doesn't want to deal with traffic, but he also doesn't want to fly in a helicopter. Yeah. So he built this for himself.
It's very selfish.
Yeah, and then was like, nah, everyone can use it.
No, their plan, the first one they want to make is like basically LAX to Brentwood, where he lives. Mm-hmm. He's literally just like, oh yeah, wouldn't it be great? City of Los Angeles, I've got this idea. Wouldn't it be great if I did this?
Why'd you pick that place?
No reason.
Would have made the OJ chase a lot less entertaining though.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, moving on. Now for some big YouTube news. Your favorite company, our favorite company. We've previously mentioned the fact that back in 2012, some of your former favorite channels were launched in large part thanks to a massive $100 million investment from Google to basically get YouTube taken more seriously. This is where stuff like Geek and Sundry, SourceFed, Jash, Clever, Nerdist, Machinima Prime, and
Rest in peace, all of those.
a lot of them are still around, but it's like a couple hundred channels, I think. They all got funding that allowed them to basically operate at a loss for several years before they would presumably figure out how to profit on their own.
It's like how rich people treat their children.
Kind of.
Yeah, here's some money for college, go nuts. Well, what'd you do with it?
So yeah, a lot of those channels obviously never figured the whole balancing a budget thing out. And a lot of the channels that are still around only survived by drastically trimming down their operating costs. So yeah.
You gotta be smart with it.
Some of them, like Geek and Sundry, just said, fuck YouTube, we're going to Twitch. And they're doing great.
And then Critical Role left, so I don't know how great
we're
they're
going
doing.
back to YouTube.
Yeah, we'll see how that pans out. But the YouTube Original Channel Initiative, as it was called, is now mainly considered a failure because while it did show that YouTube was capable of hosting quality content beyond shitty cat videos, most of the channels, particularly the ones built around celebrities, shut down as soon as Google stopped funding them less than a year later. So we had to make some tough calls. Anyways, we're rehashing this now because YouTube is once again trying something very similar, though it's much smaller in scope. They're investing $20 million specifically into educational channels in what they're calling the Learning Fund.
To be clear, this is different than YouTube Red. Something like Vsauce's Minefield show on YouTube Red, that definitely qualifies as high quality educational content, but that was produced and developed by YouTube. This new Learning Fund is basically a grant program. Channels who create educational content have to apply for funding, and YouTube is being very careful about who they decide to fund. Probably running an algorithm to see who is the least likely to say death to all Jews or film a dead body. We love what you do, just we gotta let the algorithm figure that out.
Yeah.
But so far, the people who have gotten funding include channels like the TED Ed channel, Hank and John Green's Crash Course channel. So basically, already established informational brands. Hopefully, though, now that the word is out, some smaller YouTube-centric channels can get in on this, because in a world where the Paul brothers are making millions on YouTube and inspiring thousands of other copycat channels to take a similar approach, it is nice to see YouTube at least trying to incentivize some more fulfilling content for their platform.
But who are we kidding? Because the Streamies gave a fucking award to Shane Dawson last night.
Well, he's our generation's Errol Morris. You know, he's the
Sure.
Werner Herzog of the YouTube generation.
It certainly is. Yeah.
You know, our generation had Grizzly Man. They have
My favorite
Jake
part
Paul's
of
a Sociopath, a 10-part, 5-hour series.
My favorite part of Grizzly Man is when Werner Herzog turns the camera on himself, points at Grizzly Man and says, "Psychopath! You're gonna fucking die."
I mean, he does in a way.
Yeah.
More eloquently. Such a beautiful grasp of the English language, that Werner Herzog.
We'll get Shane. We should crowdfund Shane a thesaurus, and then we'll figure that out. Anyways, one last thing before we go. Just a quick update on that whole Saudi Arabia thing from last week. Yeah, it's still happening. They found some of his body parts in a well or something.
Yeah. It's
Also had a body double walking around with his clothes on.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. They
it's-
took the dead man's clothes and sent out someone who vaguely looked like him and was just like, go walk around Istanbul for a few hours.
Hello, my fiance. Good to see you. Anyways, they finally admitted that they totally killed Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi, but he totally started it though. He was got into a big old fist fight with a bunch of Saudis that just happened to have flown into Istanbul for a very brief period of time.
Yeah, it happens to all of us.
Totally wasn't planned. Just something that happens to all of us.
Yep.
Who hasn't walked into a bar, got into a tussle, and then been cut up by a bone saw and thrown down a well?
And then they take your clothes.
Yeah.
But they cut you up after they take your clothes.
Yeah.
Because they need someone who looks like you to go walk around.
First
in
they
your clothes.
humiliate you by putting you naked on a table.
Yeah.
We're not getting into that whole thing again because there's a lot there to unpack. So please go read the news.
And it's constantly developing. This whole thing's wild. It's also like Turkey is all over this because their leader is a fucking asshole too. And this is their one
They're coming
time-
out looking great.
Yeah, this is their one time to be like, oh, people are like appreciating that we were completely spying on the Saudi consulate this entire time and we have all this information. So anyway, we will however mention that That big Saudi business conference that all those CEOs were awkwardly backing out of in light of Khashoggi's death, that's currently happening, baby. Though even the CEO of SoftBank, Masayoshi Son, who is Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman's closest international business partner, they made a lot of money together. Even that guy decided to back out of it the last second. Meanwhile, earlier this week, the website for the event was hacked with this image of bin Salman beheading Jamal Khashoggi added to the landing page and the message, Saudi regime is one of the sources for terrorism financing in the world, underneath it. Nice.
Oh, and Saudi Arabia was originally set to be one of the first places on Earth with a Hyperloop transit system, thanks to a partnership with Richard Branson and Virgin Hyperloop One. But that deal is dead after Branson said he was reevaluating his relationship with the country and the Saudis. Then, they just straight up canceled the deal because, whoa, you can't cancel on us, we cancel on you.
Yeah.
Nobody cancels on the Saudis.
It's a culture of respect.
Oh, and it's now coming out that Saudi Arabia not only has its own Twitter bot army, but also previously managed to get a mole on staff at Twitter who they asked to spy on various users.
Oh, great.
Yeah, the whole thing is nuts, and again, we can't possibly cover all of it, but it is really worth looking into if you're all interested in the world around you, and you fucking should be.
Apparently the man, not the prince, but the guy right below him who authorized all this, he didn't show up for it, but he did have them Skype him in on a tablet.
Oh, cool, so
he
you can see
could
it?
watch the whole thing go down.
Yeah.
Fucking wild. But yeah, who could have seen this coming? Oh, I don't know, anyone who knows anything about Saudi Arabia. Maybe don't get into business relationships with really bad people.
Yeah. Well, anyways, can't wait to see all the new tech coming out of that conference.
Yeah, woo.
Yeah. We need to figure out a way to encrypt Skype better, guys.
It's gonna be the DashCon of like international business.
We have a ball pit. Get in the ball pit. Get in the fucking ball pit.
It's a sand pit.
Yeah.
Hey, well, don't you want to take a picture with the camels? We have so many camels.
Anyways, we'll see you soon. Please be sure to watch the latest episode of News Dump and a brand new episode where we covered a bunch of gaming news, and you get to see a giant lizard cock in it. So you don't want to miss that. Head over to patreon.com/internettoday and find out which tier is right for you. We'll see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.